What is up, everybody? It's Ryan and Austin from the Real Stories of Success podcast, and we've got an awesome guest with us today. Crystal White, welcome. We're super excited to unbox your story and share your brilliance with the world. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So bring us up to speed. I know you've been in the real estate business for quite a while now. If you don't mind, kind of share with everybody, what's your story? Kind of bring us up, up to speed on what you've been doing the last few years. Maybe share a little bit about, how much work you're doing, how many people you have the opportunity to help out each year, things like that.
Awesome. Well, this is my fourth year in real estate. And so this year, my goal is I should be closing a little under 5 million this year. And what I've been doing, I would say really focusing on dreams. I'm big on dreams. On numbers are great, but they don't motivate or move me.
Yeah.
And so I've been very blessed to learn what moves me and motivates me, and dreams do. And so my goal is always, I have a number of dreams, if you will, of real estate dreams that I'd like to help people achieve every year. And so this year it was 26. And so I'll hit a little under that, but that's usually about my goal is don't have a team, it's just me. And so that's usually my goal, to hit around somewhere between 24 to 26 closings, if you will, but dreams, real estate dreams.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Your personality is infectious. And so for you to say that it's dreams, right? That makes so much sense. And if you ever meet Crystal, you get sucked into that aura that you have. And I love that about you. One thing that you just said is it's only been 4 years, right? Tell us the early days. How'd you get into the industry, and where'd you find out that, hey, this is going to be something I'm going to make a career?
So it's really interesting. I got my real estate license like 15, 16 years ago, never did anything with it, let it go. I was actually an account executive when there was the brokerages and all of that good stuff. So I was a lender before. And when we had the crash in 2008, I went into something else. I became the Mary Kay sales director, driving the pink Cadillacs. And so I earned like 5 cars in Mary Kay in 8 years, and really just was doing great. And it was at some point I had an aha moment that, wow, if I can make 6 figures selling lipstick, I could really probably go ahead and do this dream of real estate. And so I did. I made the transition, gave up my unit of 200 people, my organization, to jump in head first into real estate. And I have not looked back since. It was a great decision, and it's a lot easier than selling.
But I love that about your story is, you're such a doer. Austin and I talk about that a lot with people is you just dive in and you figure it out and you do it. And something you said when we were talking on the phone that has still resonated with me, and when we first spoke, was a while ago now, but is how involved you get with your customers, being that the dreams do really drive you. You're so much more involved than maybe other real estate agents are with your customers and really helping them through life. I know you even do a lot of life coaching as well, and that's a big part of what you do every single day to help move that dream forward. So tell us a little bit about that, because I know that the life coaching is a big part of what you're working on and something that really moves you. Tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Yes. So I am a volunteer life coach for this a non-for-profit organization called Purposeful Living Inc. And it's based out of Hamilton County, and it's for women specifically, but I'm sure they would open it up to men too, but it's mainly for women. And it allows me to give the coaching part of what I enjoy. So in real estate, how I translate that is I love to give my clients confidence. I do not like to just hang on the hat of my title as their realtor. You just listen to me because I'm your realtor. I like to provide them with what they need as an individual to feel confident with the decisions they're making. So a lot of times that looks like me coaching them to the success of feeling like they're owning their decision, instead of feeling like, well, she told me to do it, so that's why I did it. I guess that's kind of how I marry those two in real estate, and my passion just straight up for life coaching. And so hopefully that answers that question for you.
Education, right? We talk about that. It's one thing to tell a buyer this is why this is, but it's a better thing to tell them, hey, this is what you need to do, and here's why you need to do that. And you are really, really good at setting those expectations and educating those buyers too. I've got a question. So every good, person in this industry, we usually have a coach or we have a mentor, and you talked about coaching other people. Who are some of those that have made an impact in your life that you could share with this audience?
So definitely would be, I call her my mom, my real estate mother. That would be Megan Ferris with the Ferris Property Group. They just left the brokerage they were with and started their own brokerage. But we were directors in Mary Kay together. And when I decided to make the switch, she is the only person I went and spoke to. And I loved it. I went in, surprisingly to everybody, I went on a team. Mm-hmm. And I am so grateful I did. I went on a team my first year with Ferris Property Group, and I became a student of Megan and her husband, Todd Ferris. And so just being able to get their mentorship, learn their ways, see how they do things, because we have a lot of things in common. And it was then that my eyes got open to finding some of the things that make my heart beat. How they handle clients, client care, different things. And then, of course, when I left off of the team, I just kind of made it my own. But those were definitely my two big mentors in real estate.
I love what you said right there, because, so many people that get into the business of real estate or just sales in general, I feel is, they think that they got this. They think that they're a people person. If I hear that one time, I've heard it 10,000 times, and, yeah. But you truly do have to learn the skill of the business. You have to learn what muscles do I need to develop in order to be proficient in real estate so you can help more people. It's great that so many people are so good at understanding contracts, but if you don't have anybody to talk to about the contract, it doesn't do you much good to be good at explaining it, and something that you did there, I really commend you for, and that's taking a step back in order to take 50 forward by joining a team. I think so few agents see that that's a good path because of everything you just said. You had the opportunity to learn from so many other people that were achieving success at a really strong level that you admired, and you went in there and you learned quickly, and you learned the things that inspired you about the business. So now you can, not easily, but very easily, probably help serve more people in a very impactful way now by taking a step back initially and joining a team. So I love that about your story. I didn't know that. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So you mentioned a couple of the mentors there. What were maybe some of the aha moments that stood out from those mentors? Things like, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that, and some specific examples maybe of how those mentors really helped you power through some challenges in the business to, get past that first year or two.
I would probably, one thing is probably when I was out, I learned from my previous industry in direct sales, the power of shadowing. I like real life, like classroom teaching is great, but I would take the time out to go and be with them on their real live appointments. And some stuff can happen. And so just seeing how Megan, I went with her more than Todd, but just seeing her, like we pulled up and there was like a dog attack almost getting ready to happen as we were getting ready to go to an appointment. Just seeing how she would bounce back, and it was an aha moment of, Crystal, you do not have to be perfect. Yeah. You really you need to be there, like just be present. You can't apologize. You can't do everything perfect. I used to be a severe perfectionist. And so I think I think God made it where some of her worst things happened while I was with her, but it was good for me because I got, she's obviously successful and she just stayed true to who she was. She didn't try to pretend that she was something else. And that gave me permission to just be me, just be Crystal, no matter what's going on, just dig down and be authentic.
Along those same lines, what are maybe some of the challenges that you faced in these 4 years, and what have you learned from those challenges? Help our audience, because they're probably going through a lot of those same similar things that you have.
I think open houses are a big thing that realtors really kind of struggle with, to do or not to do. And there's not anyone out there, whatever. And not just open houses, but just other things is just looking at my expectations. Whenever I do anything that's related to my business, I have to make sure I set my expectations. What are my intentions? Why am I doing this? What am I looking for? Because sometimes what I've discovered is what we want, what we are intending to get, it doesn't match the activity that we're getting ready to try to do.
That's huge.
And so like with open houses, that was something that I was adamant. If I have to do those, I'm not doing this business. And then I went from that to doing them making sure I was doing them regularly that first year. And the thing was, I needed to be in front of people. So even if I didn't walk away with a client per se at that moment, it allowed me to practice presenting to people, because your skills can get very dusty. So it allowed me to practice presenting to people. It allowed me to keep my skills sharp, to my presentation skills, all of that. So when I did get the moment to be in front of someone that could be my customer, I was confident. I wasn't fumbling around and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that was one of the biggest things, is really getting my mind right around that particular activity.
I love that. And I'm going to piggyback on something you just said there, because, I was the real estate agent for the first 10 years of my career that just shunned open houses. Oh, they're a waste of time. You never have to worry about doing one. In fact, I even started training that way when I first got into, coaching and training, until my coach literally slapped me upside the head and said, no, there's a way you just do this, and it's very awesome, and it works consistently every single time that you do this. And he just literally showed me a plan for how to do an open house and what questions to ask people when they walk in the door, right? And just create engagement, create conversation, how to provide a little value. And now open houses, we've helped 12 people this year with open houses. And it's easy. It's super inexpensive way to do it. And quite frankly, it's when it's fun, when you've got 12 people walking through and you get to figure out, how am I going to do this and coordinate everything. It's an amazingly awesome way to spend a couple hours on a weekend day. And I do most of mine on Saturday because I don't want to do them on Sunday. And it's fun. And you can take that activity by finding a coach or somebody that does it well and just build on it and turn something that maybe you didn't want to do at all and make it a huge, integral, fun part of your business. So I love that you said that. Sorry, I didn't mean to geek out on you there.
No, I agree with you. I agree. No, you're fine.
Crystal, so we've been talking to a lot of people, and we've had some really awesome stories on here. And one, we keep finding that there are similarities in all of our guests. So a lot of people tell us how they structure their day. So a lot of the successful people have this structure. Walk us through that structure, because I think a lot of people out there, they don't know that they need to be prospecting from bam to bam and social media from this to this. What's your day look like?
So a couple things that are always staples in my day that I know I have to do. And that is, number one, I personally have to get started. I have to have time for gratitude and spirituality. I have to keep myself grounded, and so that I can be prepared for whatever comes. Because I think we all realize that in this business, you just never know what you're going to get. So making sure myself, I am emotionally grounded. When I don't do that, I pay for it later. So that's one thing. The other thing is, my day starts the night before. So I like to do a 6 most important list. And six because it's not too much, it's not too little, but I write out the 6 things that are most important for me to accomplish that next day. It allows me to sleep better at night so that I'm not sitting there like, oh my God, I got to do this. I need to make sure it's on the list. I don't think about it anymore. And then typically when I'm good, I'll kind of structure out what time I want to get those things done. So when I get going in the morning and then people are throwing things at me, hey, I need to see this, or I need to do that, or I know that based on the 6 things that I knew I needed to already do, I can respond to those things if I can, yes, do them, or if they take precedence over the rest of my day. So those are two staple things. Now, in that six most important list, I try to make sure I add in um, phone calls, reaching out instead of just being on the receiving end, waiting for someone to call me, but that I am calling people and sending out thank you cards, anniversary cards, different things like that, so that I'm proactively reaching out to my clients or people that have referred me before.
I love what you said there about your day starts the day before, and writing out those priority factors. That way you have to get those things done, because if you don't prioritize your time, then we were talking about that a couple episodes ago. If you don't prioritize your time, then you don't get those those green light activities done in your day that are the things that allow your business to grow and succeed. So I love the fact that you prioritize that the night before. That's something I think a lot of people could really take away and benefit from, is just spending 10 minutes. Here's what I have to get done moving into tomorrow. So really appreciate you sharing that. What would you say about somebody maybe considering getting into this business? One of the things that frustrates me about the business of real estate sometimes is HGTV and Bravo portray it as one thing, and that's the opposite of what the business actually is, at least 95% of it. What would you say to somebody that's maybe kind of considering the business of real estate? You've been through the most challenging part of it. You're getting past those first 2, 3, 4 years, and you're thriving in your business now. What would you tell to that person that's considering getting into this? And
run. No, I'm just kidding. No, it is very interesting you say that, because I don't want to sound negative, but I'm kind of anti recruit, just keep adding all these real estate agents into the business. And so the reason is because I take my profession and my position very serious. And it's very difficult to work on the other end of a transaction when someone does not take it serious, or they are, hats off to them, but they are trying to have a full-time career somewhere else, and they're not only on the evenings or whatever. So it's very difficult on me. So what I would say is, if your intention is not to eventually work your way into doing this full time, rethink doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I just rethink doing it, and or make sure you position yourself on a team that is structured, where someone can have your back in the process, of you not being able to do it full time for a while, whatever, because there are some team structures where, that they can help to bridge that gap. Otherwise, I would just say that's number one. If that's not your goal, to rethink that. And then number two, become a great student.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to really just become a great student? Find someone. Don't be alone. A lone ranger out there. It's a small community, so your reputation's everything. So find someone that you can be mentored by or whatever, because man, you can burn some bridges, and that's not a good thing in this business.
Not at all.
We were literally just having that conversation about there's nothing that bugs us more than that part-timer, right? That communication is lacking, and one email turns into 30 when it could have been a phone call and figured out. But yeah, I would give someone that same advice. Crystal, you are a very positive person. That is one thing that I truly, truly love about you. But on the opposite side, is there anything in this industry that's keeping you up at night? Anything that you foresee coming that maybe is saying, oh my gosh, that gives me a little bit of anxiety?
The one thing that I have had those kind of feelings about is how the market is correcting itself. And it needs correction. It does. And I welcome it. The only thing is, it's not fun when you are a list agent of sellers who have watched the market be so much in sellers' favor for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then you have to educate and explain to them that, hey, it's not just you and it's not just me as your agent. why your home is going to be sitting on the market for a while now. So that was my one concern, is just how consumers will take that, because sometimes you just need to blame someone, and the first
Oh
person
yeah.
and easiest one to blame is your agent, obviously. So it goes back to education, and so that's just something that I have to be prepared to do.
Tell me about that a little bit. I want to dig a step deeper on that because you're absolutely right. I mean, I think there's a handful of price points, at least here in the Indianapolis market, that, are still just absolutely on fire and will probably remain that way for a touch longer. But I know that especially as the price points go up, in Indianapolis, our average price is right around 2.25, I believe, right now. And as you're working with homes that are priced, a little bit above that, I do believe that you're 1,000% right. We have started to see a little bit of a market correction. We've seen the metrics like days on market go up. We've seen the number of showings, go down slightly from where they were a year ago right now. So what are some of the things that you do to help educate that, that homeowner that's waiting for that peak of the market, so to speak, to sell? How do you do that? How do you walk people through that process? Because I know that there's a lot of agents that probably struggle with that, because that's not an easy conversation to have with people.
Hmm. I believe setting expectations is very important. Um, Number one. Number two is not, I see agents do this too much, and that's making promises.
Mm,
We really can't do that. And so once again, it kind of goes back to my style of coaching, and allowing people to feed them the facts and the information, and allow them to come up with their own interpretation of that, or their decision. And so letting them see, hey, this is a great time right now, but that can change at any time. And then showing them stats. I'm an information junkie, and I warn my clients of that. I will keep the information coming until they turn it off, because I feel like I need to feed them the information they need so they can make a decision. And that's one of those things. Just making sure that they're aware of what's going on, how the market is looking, what kind of things are on the horizon, and that I'm not a genie. I cannot, I can't guarantee anything, but here's what I'm seeing.
I love that. Yeah, people can't argue they can't argue with facts. So I love that you use data to help you through that. Yeah, I geek out on data.
Don't we all, right? Don't we all? Crystal, as we start to wrap this up, why don't you leave the audience with what success mean to you?
In business, success would mean me me hitting a goal or numbers that allow me to live a certain lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little vague on that, just because my lifestyle is more important to me than the numbers and what goal I hit. I used to be really numbers driven some eons ago, but really is me being able to have a certain lifestyle. And that lifestyle obviously includes monetary things, family time, whatever, but then also being able to reach a certain amount of clients. And that is really my big goal, because I love to give my clients time. I like to be available, but I also do not like to be burnt out, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. So just having some balance there, where I'm supporting enough people and I'm hitting enough numbers that it will give the audience that I need. It gives them confidence working with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I know numbers are important. Some people, they want to know how much have you done. They're like, and that's important. I get that. So enough to be able to, and I don't know exactly what that sweet spot number is. That is something I'm working on discovering right now. But I know what I want the end result to be: the lifestyle, as well as me being able to give confidence to the audience I'm looking for, that they'll feel confident putting their real estate dreams in my hands.
Sounds like you're a lot closer than you think. I think you know exactly where you're going, and maybe just going through a little exercise there. But no, I love that about your story. You're so clearly passionate. I wish you were here in studio. We're sitting here looking at the monitor on Zoom right now, which is actually really cool. But you're obviously so passionate about what you do, and you truly care is what I'm taking away from this, and that your desire to have a positive impact on the world is it's abundantly obvious. So I've really enjoyed spending a few minutes of our morning with you here, and I know that a lot of clients are going to have some strong takeaways from this one. So thank you so much for your time here this morning, Crystal.
Crystal, can you tell everybody, if they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to contact Crystal White?
The best way, you can reach me email, which would be crystalwhiterealtygroup@gmail.com, or on my cell phone, 317-828-4519.
Give her a call. You're going to get blown up now.
Yeah. Thank you, Crystal. We appreciate you being on.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
All right, thank you. You guys have a great day.
You too.
All righty. Bye-bye.